What if I told you that some of the greatest robberies in history didn't involve guns blazing or car chases, but blueprints, brainpower, and brilliance? These weren't just crimes, they were masterpieces. From underground tunnels stretching for blocks to robbers who vanished without a trace. These heists were so perfectly executed, they left law enforcement scratching their heads for years. In this video, we uncover 10 of the most genius bank heists ever pulled off. Not just for how much they stole, but for how cleverly, silently, and shockingly they did it. Buckle up, because by the end you'll be asking yourself, was this a movie script or real life? Let's begin. Banco Central Heist, Brazil, 2005. In August 2005, Brazil woke up to what would become one of the most legendary and cinematic bank heists in modern history. The Banco Central heist in Fortaleza. This wasn't your average smash and grab. This was meticulous, strategic, almost surgical. The criminals behind this operation didn't wear masks or storm the bank. Instead, they rented a house 2 blocks away under the name of a fake landscaping company. Over the course of 3 months, using jackhammers and pickaxes, they dug a tunnel stretching 256 feet beneath the city, reinforced with wood and lined with lighting and air circulation systems. The tunnel ended directly under the bank's vault, the kind of vault you'd assume is completely untouchable. But here's the catch. Banco Central stored non-sequential, unmarked cash, money that wasn't traceable. And due to Brazilian holidays that weekend, the bank was closed, giving robbers a perfect, uninterrupted window. When officials returned on Monday, they were greeted with a shocking scene. The vault had been empty. No alarms had gone off. There were no signs of forced entry. Nearly 160 million Brazilian reais, about 70 million US dollars, had vanished. Authorities were stunned. The robbers had disabled security sensors, worked underground in shifts, and even disposed of the dirt discreetly. It took months before even partial suspects were identified. Eventually, a few members were caught, but most of the money and key masterminds were never recovered. What made the Banco Central heist so iconic wasn't just the amount stolen. It was the precision. No violence, no chaos. Just strategy, patience, and planning that spanned months. To this day, it stands as one of the most technically brilliant heists in history. And here's the twist. Many believe that some of the culprits used their share to finance other criminal enterprises, meaning the heist may still be paying off 20 years later. Knightsbridge Security Deposit Robbery, UK, 1987. Picture this, Central London, 1987. A sharply dressed man named Valerio Vice walks into the Knightsbridge Safe Deposit Center, calm, confident, and clutching a briefcase. What security didn't know was that he was about to shut down the entire bank. From the inside, Vicky asked to rent a deposit box. While inside the vault, he pulled out a gun, overpowered the staff, and brought in his accomplices. They locked the doors, hung a closed sign, and got to work. For hours, they drilled, cracked, and looted over 100 safety deposit boxes filled with millions in cash, gold, jewelry, and bonds. The total haul? Over $98 million in today's value. No alarms, no cops, just pure control and timing. Vicky fled to South America and lived lavishly, Ferraris, models, and beach villas. But he couldn't resist returning to the UK for his beloved Ferrari. That mistake led to his capture and eventual imprisonment. While Vicky was later killed in a shootout during a prison day release, the heist remains one of London's most shocking. Not for its violence, but for its style. It was classy, bold, and devastatingly effective. And the most chilling part? It could happen again, with just the right smile and the wrong motive. Dar es Salaam Bank Heist, Iraq, 2007. In the chaos of war, criminals don't just survive, they thrive. In 2007, Baghdad was under siege from conflict and corruption. But that didn't stop the biggest cash robbery in Iraq's history from happening. In total silence, the Dar es Salaam Bank was supposed to be secure, guarded 24/7. But one morning, employees arrived to find it completely empty. $282 million gone. No alarms, no broken locks, no shootouts. The culprits? The very guards hired to protect it. Insiders who used their access, skipped the drama, and simply disappeared with the money during the night. What makes this heist brilliant isn't its execution, it's its context. Baghdad was already unstable, which meant that forensic follow-up was nearly impossible. Authorities couldn't chase ghosts when the city was already burning. No suspects were arrested. No one saw the money again. There were rumors the cash funded militia groups, political agendas, or vanished into offshore havens. But officially, it was the perfect inside job, executed during the perfect storm. No tunnels, no hacking, just one truth. If you control the vault and no one's watching, the whole bank is yours. Central Bank of Iraq Robbery, Baghdad, 2003. This wasn't just a heist, it was a dictator's personal withdrawal. Just before the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, Saddam Hussein made a bold move. He looted his own central bank. Armed with a handwritten note, he instructed bank officials to hand over $920 million in cash, one of the largest bank robberies in history. His son, Qusay Hussein, arrived with trucks and loaded the cash like groceries. No guns were drawn, no security was breached. This wasn't theft, it was dictatorship in action. Absolute power with zero accountability. The U.S. military later found some of the money hidden in palace walls and buried under sand. The vast majority was never recovered. Experts believe it helped fund escape routes, militia loyalty, and secret exile plans. It wasn't clever in the conventional sense, but it was brilliantly opportunistic. Saddam knew that once the bombs started falling, no one would be counting the bills. And so, in a country spiraling into war, nearly $1 billion disappeared, right through the front door. Northern Bank Robbery, Northern Ireland, 2004. It was a cold December in Belfast when a heist unfolded that felt more like a spy thriller than a crime. The target, the Northern Bank. The twist, it started not at the bank, but at the homes of two bank managers. Disguised as police officers, the robbers entered the homes of the employees and took their families hostage. No ransom, no threats, just one demand. Go to work the next day, act normal, and help us rob the bank, or your family dies. Under intense pressure, the managers complied. And on the night of December 20th, 2004, the gang walked into the Northern Bank and calmly wheeled out £26.5 million, over $40 million. No gunfire, no alarms. It was the perfect fusion of psychological warfare and inside access. Even more chilling, the original gang was never definitively identified. Some believe it was politically motivated. Others say it was an independent criminal syndicate. Despite a few arrests and partial recoveries, the bulk of the cash remains missing, and the chilling orchestration, using family as leverage, remains one of the most sinister tactics in heist history. The Hatton Garden Job, London, 2015. Easter weekend, London, 2015. While the city enjoyed a holiday break, a group of elderly men, average age 67, were breaking into one of the most secure vaults in the country, Hatton Garden Safe Deposit. But this wasn't a scene out of Ocean's 11. This was more like Ocean's Grandpa. Using drills, crowbars, and a methodical plan, they bypassed the alarm system, descended down a lift shaft, and drilled through a 2-meter thick concrete wall. they looted over 70 safe deposit boxes, stealing jewelry, gold, diamonds, and cash worth over $20 million. It wasn't just the loot, it was the audacity. These men weren't tech-savvy hackers. They were seasoned criminals with decades of experience. But age didn't slow them. What did? Ego and carelessness, boasting over beers, using old contacts, and leaving behind just enough clues led to their eventual capture. Still, the Hatton Garden job proved that brains, even older ones, could still outsmart high-tech security. For a few days, they were legends. The Loomis Fargo Heist, USA, 1997. Charlotte, North Carolina. A simple vault manager named David Gaunt, tired of his monotonous life, got an offer he couldn't refuse. Robbed the Loomis Fargo vault he managed daily. Inside, over $17 million in untraceable cash. He did it. One night, he loaded van after van with the help of a small group of accomplices and disappeared to Mexico with $50,000, planning to wait until the heat cooled down. But what ruined them wasn't the robbery, it was the spending. The crew left behind in the US started flashing cash, buying mansions, jewelry, and even a velvet painting of Elvis. The FBI noticed. Arrests followed. Gaunt, still in hiding, was betrayed by his crew. He was arrested in Mexico, extradited, and served time. But the story became a movie, literally. Hollywood couldn't resist the combination of stupidity, greed, and unintentional comedy. Yet for all the blunders, it started with a flawless inside job. One bored man, one big vault, one very bad plan for afterwards. The Bank of France heist, Toulon, 1992. France, 1992. A man named Albert Spaghiari had already made headlines with a daring sewer-based heist years earlier. But this time, another group took the inspiration further. In Toulon, they tunneled beneath the Bank of France vault over months, using underground engineering precision. They struck over Bastille Day weekend. No alarms were tripped, no guards were harmed. And when the vault was opened Monday morning, it was nearly empty. Over 100 million francs, roughly 18 million US dollars, gone without a trace. French authorities called it the heist of the century. And to this day, many of the culprits were never caught. The Société Générale heist, Nice, France, 1976. Before the tunnel job of Hatton Garden, there was Nice, 1976. Mastermind Albert Spaghiari led a gang who tunneled into the Société Générale bank vault from the city's sewers. They spent weeks underground, avoiding sensors, using blowtorches and drills, and even cooked meals inside the vault as they looted it. When police finally found the breach, it was too late. $10 million in cash and valuables had been taken. Spaghiari was arrested, but famously escaped during a court hearing, jumping out a window and fleeing on a motorcycle. He lived in exile for years and became something of a folk hero. Not for violence, but for outsmarting the system. A criminal, yes, but also, in the eyes of many, a genius. The Bank of America heist, USA, 1998. Las Vegas, 1998. A vault manager named Heather Tallchief and her partner, Roberto Solis, pulled off the perfect inside job. Disguised as armored truck operators, they simply drove away with $2.5 million in cash. No alarms, no gunfire, no trace. Tallchief vanished for over a decade. Solis, an ex-con and poet, vanished entirely. When Tallchief resurfaced years later, she turned herself in, citing guilt and pressure. But the money? Mostly gone. It was smooth, quick, and orchestrated by two people who knew the system too well. Proof that sometimes the best heists come from those who blend in, until the day they disappear. Each of these heists didn't just steal money, they rewrote the rules of crime. No ordinary thefts, no simple plans. These were bold, intricate operations where brains beat bullets. Subscribe for more twisted tales from history's most mind-bending crimes.